will destroy the market.
In Australia.
And a lot of people will hate you.
We're in the manufacturing heartland of the world, China. We're in a Chinese factory, and I'm gonna show you how we're building our business on the ground in China. We got a real order from Australia, and so I'm gonna show you how we take that order from A to Z, how it actually gets produced here in the factory in China, how we negotiate with our suppliers, how we get the very best deal possible, and then how we send it to Australia. So I'm literally gonna give you the entire playbook of doing business in China. So on that note, let's go make it happen. And so today, we're gonna be following the order of Jacqueline Kalen. I just picked a random order. This is our 24th order, exactly, order 1024. Jacqueline has ordered, I won't show her address, some forest green Kit Kat mosaic tiles from our Bloomfield website. So again, all the tiles in here that you see, we literally stock them directly online, and so anyone can buy them from the factory. So Jacqueline's done that, so thank you for the trust. We're gonna be showing that tile being produced from nothing, literally like gravels of sand, into a full tile, and then into a full order that ends up directly into a customer's hands. I mean, super cool. You can see like the production and the scale that these guys are able to produce that. He was saying they've got over 300 employees working here around the clock. Coming into the factories and actually seeing this stuff live is what gives you a competitive advantage, I think, in the market. For me to be able to say to our customers, and you know, a lot of you guys that buy tiles from us, we're here, we're on the ground, we're talking to these suppliers, we're negotiating better deals. When you're trying to do business in China, the most important thing, I think, is just like being here and immersing yourself in it. Because if you're not, man, it's so hard to understand how these guys are able to pull off what they do. We're going into the first stage where they produce these tiles. And so when you buy a tile from us online, again, we're like buying all this stuff directly straight out of the factory. This is the start of the process. You can see here that it's all sandstone. You see all the raw materials are all stacked up in here. We got some lovely lady over there just hanging out. Ni hao. Hello. Just hanging out. But you see all the raw materials are here, and it gets taken, and then they essentially form it, which we'll see in a second, and then they treat it, and then they put it in the kiln. And so you can see here, it's unbelievable. Like, for like Australia to like try and produce tiles in Australia, because we'd love as an Australian business to be able to do this sort of stuff locally, it's just virtually impossible. Like, to be able to do it at the price, the competitiveness, and the scale that these guys are doing it at, it's not it. And you realize that all of your stuff that you buy as an Australian pretty much ends up coming from China in one way or another. And so the reason that we wanted to do this business is we thought, well, if you could just go directly and work with the factories, cut out all the middlemen that exist in the market today, which is like distributors, wholesalers, importers, and just buy from these guys directly and give average Australians access to this stock, it means the cost is like so much lower for everyone, and the bloat that exists today doesn't need to exist anymore. So that's why we're here, and that's why I've moved my whole life to Hong Kong and set up this business, is because we want to be able to give Aussies access to this range and this like capability that China has at the quality standards that we expect. We want to do a better job than everyone at quality, and that's why we're here on the ground sweating our asses off, showing you guys like what it's like to be here. So you can see here, all sandstone. We've got like the head of the factory there, Lewis, who's a G. And yeah, we're gonna try and not get run over by this thing. Don't get run over. So yeah.
How was your business so far?
Good, I mean, it's going very well. We did a big news story in Australia, and it was like the top performing news story all weekend in the entire country. Sample orders have gone through the roof. Yeah, it's been.
Telling story to the buyer.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we have to do. And a lot of our, actually, where's Byron? Oh, there he is. I'll say it in front of the camera because it'd be good, because a lot of our like story is that we want to connect people directly to you, the factory, and we want to give them the opportunity to kind of just buy through us to get to you.
One very serious problem is they will destroy the entire Australian car market.
You think?
I think so.
Well, let's do that. We'll do that together. But yeah, as our like next step, we'll definitely like look to grow the team and really push. He said, Lewis said, one Connie not enough, and I said I agree. But yeah, I think people will still want stuff next day. Like obviously we're doing it all out of China, so it takes time to ship, and you know, so some people will want, I want tiles tomorrow, and we're not that company for them. But it's for the people who are doing projects they're planning, they're doing larger orders. They don't want the middleman and the distributor and the wholesaler and then the retailer with all their margins in between them and the factory. And so as I said, like our entire goal is we want to connect all these Australians to just you and the factory partners we have, so they can just buy your stock. Buy, and then we do all the logistics. We figure out, make sure there's a profit margin, but our goal is to make sure it's as cheap as possible for the end consumer. So if you give us your like most competitive prices that are sustainable for you, that you can keep going at, that allows us to be able to on-sell it to the Australian consumer and give them a really, really good deal.
Yeah, maybe develop your own retailer as well.
Well, no, we are. I mean, we are essentially a retailer because customers are coming through us.
Yeah, but the project is not long going business.
Oh, you mean sell into retailers and wholesalers?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we could. I just think, like, it's a very big trend in the Western world at the moment where people are looking to cut out the middleman and the whole status quo that's existed, which is retailers and wholesalers. People are sick of them because they're paying too much money. And so everyone used to not like China, not to be rude, but they didn't like China like 10 years ago. Now Australians and Americans, they really like China way more. They trust China, they think China has way better prices, which it always did. But people now just starting to realize and understand. And so that's where we can really start to say, hey, change what you're doing and we can just sell it directly to you from the factory. And that's where we can drive a lot of volume. So, all right, let's keep going. Yeah. See how cool this is? It's unbelievable. Like we're literally, so they take all the raw material and it comes in here after it's just been like sifted through. I keep saying this, I feel like a broken record, but the size and the scale of this place, it's so hard to describe and so hard to like kind of convey the feeling of being here. But again, like I just think like in business generally, like you're always just trying to find, as I'm thinking about like what's the 1% opportunities that are gonna like be a wedge in a market that's big enough for it to be worthwhile. And I think a lot about like the China business that we've started. I mean, I came here, literally I booked a one-way plane ticket and I've been doing business here since I was like 15. And the first time I ever came to China, I just like my entire eyes were like, had never seen anything like this before. And so if you're thinking about like trying to really push the boundary and innovate, be in the place where they're doing stuff, be in the countries that are really moving forward. I think we live in a world today where like, there's so many, I'm not gonna name the countries, but they peaked like 100 years ago and they're not relevant anymore. Yeah, they're a nice place to live, but they might not be the place that's making waves. And I don't think anyone can refute that China is leading that. Maybe you could say the US, but China is on the cutting edge of the world and innovation. And I only say that through my own personal experiences, just by being here and you know what you guys are seeing here with me. And so when you think about the business opportunity, again, it's about finding the wedge. Where is the business that you can build in a market that's big enough that you can kind of innovate? For example, we looked at tiles and building supplies because no one was really working directly with the factory. And so we thought we could connect and bridge that gap and give people direct access. Okay, that's cool. But you know, there's so many things that we still can't do. We can't do next day delivery. We don't have showrooms. We don't have traditional like enterprise infrastructure. There's so many reasons to why like we're not going to be the thing for everyone. But you don't need to be. Again, it's about finding the wedge and the opportunity. So I've got friends of mine who they looked at like doing like the dart blasters, and they realized their biggest competitor didn't even manufacture their own goods. They just contract manufactured it all out in China. And they thought, well, why don't we move to China? And this was like 20 years ago. Why don't we move to China and why don't we try and do this ourselves and manufacture it and do it properly? And that's another example. And now they, you know, make billions of dollars a year. And so you realize that there is so much room for success, but it doesn't need to be all in one. You can just like find a little idea, come to a place like China, try and innovate, and that's where I think a lot of the opportunity is here today.
The feeding machine inside.
Oh yeah, let's have a look. This big feeding machine, essentially they mix it all, and then this is the body of the tile. So when you pick up a tile, you think like, what's in it? This is literally it before it then goes and gets put into the kiln at like 3,000 degrees. So we're gonna touch it, but he can't translate it, so it's probably all toxic, but you know, YOLO. That's awesome. It just feels like sand. Hopefully my hand doesn't fall off now, but whatever. Yeah. It's like, we look like slightly out of place. All the workers take photos. It's kind of cute. But yeah, they were saying as well that 50% of the workers actually work on site here. And yeah, so they live on site in the dormitories. And so they're literally here, they work around the clock. He goes, some of them also share the same beds as well. So literally like they might have their own room or they share a room. And so while someone's working, someone's sleeping. It's like efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. You can see here, I noticed as well, a lot of the factories you work with, things are still quite manual. So it's all like written down on pieces of paper versus computerized. Like none of this is really computerized. It's all manual. And so I think a lot about our opportunity here in China, which is like, how do we automate the relationship with these factories? Because our problem is that we want to know their stock levels, we want to know their prices in real time so we can reflect that on our website. But right now, we can't. And so essentially, one thing we'll do over time, which is a bit of our like secret sauce, we want to really become a technology company, which is what I'm really good at doing. That's my previous business. And so how can we like connect the factory with our platform where we can know their real-time stock, their real-time pricing, real-time details and spec sheets around tiles they have in stock. And so we can literally just list them straight on our site, pass those prices on to consumers. You know what's available at any one point in time. And there's never a point where the tile is out of stock and we go, oh crap, we sold you a tile that we can't fulfill. So that's where we kind of want to get to. But that's why it comes to building the relationship with these guys and really like figuring out how to do that, because to get them to change their processes for us, we have to be able to drive that volume.
The pressing machine.
Oh, pressing, okay. So yeah, so next step is they take the thing that I just touched, like third step now, we've gone from raw material to mixing it, mixing that raw material to now pressing it. So this is where it becomes like an actual tile in the shape that you would expect, in the size that you want as well. Something wrong, okay.
Something wrong, you have to stop for the
the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, you will not have usually problem.
Okay,
All
sure.
the synthesization will happen.
Okay. I just think, yeah, like it's like all well and good going to showrooms and stuff, but nothing beats like being here in a real factory. I feel like as well, some of the suppliers, they really like turn it on and they really like show us something that's not real. Obviously, we just care about the end product, to be honest. Like that's the most, like what is the price and the quality that we're, you know, providing to a customer. But
As I was filming it today, there was a few defective ones. There was a couple broken.
yeah, I saw that. Like, and even the last one, you hear the alarms going off. That's literally like
some
because.
shit's gone wrong there.
Yeah, he said, yeah, there's just a problem, and when there's a problem, the whole thing stops, so we can fix the problem and make sure that it's perfect before we keep going. We talk a lot about China, and we're like, oh, China's so great, and you know, I just say all those things because I've just been here for that long. But I understand how, like, for the average person coming over here and doing, like, you see it, like, doing this experience of, like, running a business, being here on the ground, producing a product in China, trying to revolutionize a model. But it's hard. Like, like you're drenched in sweat. And it's a different culture, it's a different language. And so I understand like this is really it's not for everyone. And that's fine. And I just think that that's why the world is made up for different people, and we're just trying to make things easier for people so you don't have to come and go through the same hoops and have the same experiences and failures and learnings that we had to have trying to build a business here in China. If you want building materials, you know, you can let us do that, and we're going to give it to you for the cheapest possible price. Ni hao. Ni hao. Can I do it? Yeah. Where? Here? There? In here? Yeah. Okay. Great. 谢谢. 再见. Yeah, did I do a good job? Yeah. She's very cute.
And she also saying you're very cute.
Ah, thank you. She said I'm cute. Yes. Gotta take every win you can get. So what's it doing here?
This is the body
Okay.
after drying.
Ah, okay.
You can see the three-stage drying.
So when does the actual tile itself get painted?
Here.
Ah, in there. Ah, okay. Oh, you can just hang out here. It's all aircon. It's great. This is like stage 4, which is the drying and painting. And so essentially every tile comes out the same. But now when you look at a tile, obviously they're all different on the finish. So this is where the tile itself actually gets painted. So that's before. I'll show you. Every tile looks the same. See? Same. And you're like, is that what they look like at the end? No, I'll show you. So it goes through this machine here. That paints it to pretty much any style that you can want.
paint.
Yeah, after. You can see here, look. So that's the style that's going on those tiles. And I assume, Lewis, you can obviously just program whatever
Yeah.
style you want.
Yeah. B2.
So the slip resistant that Australia needs for standards,
Yeah.
that is after this
PC.
next step.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right, great. I love this room. It's the best room of the whole factory. Air conditioned.
Also the boss room.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. That's so cool. But yeah, so you see it's all come out here. It's all been painted and now they get like a specific protective glaze on it to protect the tile. So I guess what, we call that stage 5? Well, paint, glaze protection, stage 5, all right? Stage 5, glaze protection.
So all the surface will have the glaze.
Okay, cool. Especially since Connie is leaving, trying to be in China more for me is very, very important because we've got to make sure that our orders go out on time, that we're serving customers the right way. And so, yeah, I'll spend more time here. But a lot of my role now in the business is very much more marketing. And so it's figuring out how do we get in front of more customers, how do we sell them, how do they understand what we're doing. And so I just try and spend as much time as possible on doing that. So how long would this sit here for? Is this all made to order or this is all just for stock? Some.
Yeah.
So for the stock, how long will the stock sit? Just until you sell?
It depends, but normally the longest will 6 months for free
6 months, okay.
for the customer.
Yeah. So you can store stock for 6 months.
Yeah.
What do you think's your biggest challenge as a factory at the moment?
Sell tiles.
Sell tiles? So you're just gonna sell more. And you think you wanna sell more in China domestic market or international? What's the
Of course, international.
why? Because better margins or
Domestic market always do not go on very large quantity.
so domestic market wants smaller tire orders.
Yeah. So that everything the cost will be very high.
Yeah, sure. he just does this all day. He's a tile slamming guy. What a job. So this is like stage 6. This is all the polishing. So you see it's like a final step. All of it's just been polished. And so the tile looks like a real tile now. And then step 7, final step, is the edging. So it's the edging of the tile that they'll then perform and do. They say it's just incredible. And you see here is part of like step 6, the polishing. This is the actual brush that they use. So they load that into the machine, and the machine just like vigorously scrubs it. So we'll see here. Feel? Okay.
Yeah, feel.
This is like now step 7. Well, I don't even know what I'm up to now. I've lost track. But whatever. Point is that yeah, now the tile's been brushed, and then now literally you can see a completed tile rolling off the production line. I mean, man, it's so cool to be able to see from literally start to end how this was produced in real time. But you can see how just the fact that there's sort of factories like this can literally produce any sort of size, any sort of style, anything that you could possibly want, it can be done here in the factory. And the best thing is we have the advantage of being able to stock that and just sell it directly to the end Aussie. And eventually Americans. We love you Americans who are watching. So. And the biggest advantage when I moved to China, I was always trying to look for a business model where there was no real inventory risk. I think a lot of people get wrong when they're buying from factories is they buy all this stock, they get it sent, whether it's fashion, whether it's building supplies, whether it's whatever, and then they try and sell it. It's so dumb. And why not? Our biggest thing with these, we don't own any of these tiles. We have no inventory risk. The risk sits with the factory and we're doing them a favor because we're essentially selling their stock because otherwise it would be sitting here in the warehouse not being sold. And so, again, I'm always thinking less about how can I take on risk, how can I shift the risk, and then create a win-win partnership between me and whoever I'm doing business with. And for us in this instance, it's coming to China, partnering with the factory, having them own the inventory that's already sitting here, and then just giving them another way to sell that. And we do that by cutting everyone else out and just going straight to the end consumer. So, yeah, it's just about business, thinking about things differently, and always like trying to find that right to win. And I think in this business we have a few of them. It's, you know, no inventory risk, being able to ship fast, knowing China, having a team on the ground here in China, understanding our customer who we're really selling to and really relating. You know, all of my friends can't afford houses. I'm 24, none of them can afford a house in Australia. And so we really wanted to change that because like building in Australia is so expensive, and by doing our bit and bringing that building supply and cost down, bringing that cost down and really helping the end Aussie, it's like, man, that's the thing that puts a smile on my face. So anyway, let's get off this conveyor belt thing. It's like step 8 or 9. The final step is like, it's about quality assurance. So you see here that on every single tile that goes through, they have a machine that measures the size to make sure the size is perfect. So say a 600 by 600. And then you've got here, you've got a camera that goes through and literally scans every tile looking for imperfections. So the camera is meant to pick it up. If the camera doesn't pick it up, the next step is you've got literally the lady standing there just checking every single tile to make sure that every single one of them is perfect. And if there's defects, they pull it out, they don't send it. So you see here, like this lady here, there's no way in Australia you could have someone standing there full time, like just staring. And I guarantee she'd be like the best at what she does, and she'd be able to pick like the most micro imperfections. If the cameras don't miss it, she'll get it. I know I've kept saying final stage about 7 times now, but final stage is packing. So when you think about how the tiles end up in a box like this, obviously a machine, the more automated the factory like this one, a machine actually does it. China, over time, has become more expensive to produce things, ironically. You can actually get stuff produced cheaper in places like Vietnam because the Chinese people, the labor costs have just kept rising because there's more and more opportunities. There's so much going on here that it's essentially become more expensive to produce. So China, historically, used to just throw people at problems. So it's just like, oh, we need people to pack. All right, let's get people to do it. But like what's happened in the Western world, labor's become expensive. And so the Chinese are the first now to think about how do we innovate? And that's the shift that I think is happening here in China. It's all about, less about people power and manpower, but more about innovation. And how do we take a process that, you know, for example, like you look at these guys, they're boxing that automatically, but you see, instead of having to wrap that tape around, see how it actually just wraps it around for them? Innovation. And so there are other tile factories that we've seen that literally you'll see no people. You go to one of our previous videos, it's got like 200,000 views now. Literally like a factory with no one, it's all automated. I think when you come to China, the West is very good at looking at ways to innovate. So bringing that like Western mindset into China around how do we not just throw people at a problem, how do we cut costs? How do we get the most efficient as we possibly can to drive a real outcome? And I think if you bring that in, combine that with like Chinese ingenuity, that's what I think is like a real winning formula. And that's at least what we're trying to do as a business. Done. Lewis, hey, thank you very much. Good to see you again. We'll be in touch. Let's go actually see the finished product that's sitting in a warehouse. That warehouse is full of products that we stock on our website. So it goes from the factory into the warehouse, and we're gonna go to the warehouse, and we're gonna show you this green Kit Kat tile that Jacqueline is gonna be getting for her new home. So thank you. So we made it to the warehouse. This is literally one of the warehouses that stocks all our tiles that we're selling online directly to the end consumer. And so I'm going to show you in here literally where the tile itself is stocked, what it really looks like in real life here in China. And yeah, how we then plan on getting that product from China into Australia. We're thinking about like how we get it into Australia, and you might be wondering how we actually ship this stuff from China into the motherland. And the answer is there's two main ways to do it. First is FCL, which is like a full container load. In this case, we don't have a full container load worth of tiles. So we're gonna be doing LCL. And those are like the two main options you have when buying from China. And so an LCL is a less than container load. And so that means that literally a freight forwarder who'll pick your stock up for you will literally combine it with other options or other cargo, other people's orders, and then that will get dropped off at the port together. And then you use a 3PL or a freight forwarder to then pick the product up out of the container and then deliver it to wherever you want. And for us, it's literally delivering it to our end customer. So in this case, it's gonna be LCL, less than container load, but let's go inside and I'll show you where the order actually is and what to expect. Here we go. Yes, we found them. Oh God, dude, it's heavy. So here we go. This is a green mosaic tile here, literally in the factory, in the warehouse, technically. See here, beautiful, really, really, really nice. But you see, one box is 1 square meter, and so the box feels like it's about 20 kilos. Thanks to Jacqueline for the order, and yeah, these are your tiles. Live here in the factory, and this will be the one that we prepared to send out. What do you think of the quality of these? They're good?
I think this is quite good for the mosaic. Very low water absorption first of all. And for the other thing is that you can see the surface make it very smooth and like no other defect. Quality is good.
It's good. Okay, cool. So I just think what's like super cool is walk around here and you look at like, you know, tiles that we're buying for customers. This is all stock that we have on our website. Like every single tile here, every single one of them is a tile that we can stock, because again, our whole model is like buying directly from the factory. And there's just rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of them. So I just think that, like, you know, a concern of mine when I first came to China and tried to like set this business up was suppliers weren't going to be willing to work with us, because traditionally in China, people always wanted MOQs, which is a minimum order quantity, to be super high. They're like, oh, you're going to buy a container worth of tiles. And that's pretty much like everything. When you come and buy from China, they always want you to buy a lot. You realize that the MOQ only really exists because suppliers just want you to be serious and they want you to be committed to them and it's to be worth their while. And they have like production costs and whatever, but if their stock already is sitting and it exists, and our approach was just like convincing them to say, hey, if we just come in and we just partner with you, we want to sell, like, all this inventory here is costing the supplier money. This is stock that they've had to produce, to pay for, it's now sitting on the floor and they're trying to sell. And so instead of us trying to like screw the supplier, get the cheapest price possible, we view ourselves as like a partner, like a real partner to the factory here on the ground. Because like right now, if this is gonna sit here for another month, every day that this stuff sits here, it's just costing the supplier money. So yeah, I mean, it's one thing to think that we're able to do it. It's another thing to like prove that we have been able to do it. And I feel like as the business progresses every single day, we're just proving again and again and again that this is a model that is actually sustainable. And it really, man, like it makes me excited. And when you, that sounds so insincere, like, I don't know, it makes me excited. But seriously, like this just feels like we're just so in it day to day that even reflecting and talking about it, like, man, we've come so far over the last couple of months. And I mean, you go back and you watch one of our videos that we originally did, even just like 3 months ago at the start of this series, you can see like I moved to Hong Kong with a dream to make this possible, this business here in China, and to walk around a supplier like this who we've partnered with and we convinced that our model is worth supporting, to drop the MOQ to like literally nothing and be able to give access to all Australians cheaper building supplies and tiles to begin with. Like to see it come to fruition, whatever that English word, fruition, sounds like I can't speak English now. See that come to reality is so sick, man. It's so sick. Anyway, but yeah, the next step from here is the order. Literally, again, I said, get picked up. Once it gets picked up, we'll use a freight forwarder who does it as a partial container load, which means essentially that it will just be put in a bunch of other products from other suppliers, shipping things to Australia, so not just our container, and then we'll ship that straight into Australia. It takes a couple of weeks on a boat and then just gets delivered directly to the end customer. So, Jacqueline, thank you again. Really, really appreciate your support and your order with us, and everyone who's like believed in our business and wanted to support our model. You know, our website's down below if you want to go buy some tiles. Thanks. It does mean a hell of a lot and helps us prove that you know, our model's worthwhile and we're actually making a difference to Australia. So yeah, we'll live to battle another day. Yeah, because like with quotes of like being charged $600 for shipping on a $600 order, I mean, we can't sustain that obviously as a business. And so we really, like Nick was saying, we've got to get a $600 quote for shipping down to like $100 would be like ideal. And I'm like, how are you going to do that? And he goes, I don't know, but
I don't know either.
yeah. But I think if we even just get it down like half, I just think that because Nick's like, you know, they're charging us these like delivery fees are all very expensive. These other fees I don't understand. I don't know why those are in there. And so he's going to speak to his guy Warren tomorrow to try and get that price down. But especially your relationships in China to be able to try and like figure out the very best price could possibly be, even if it's very unconventional, like we think outside the box, then I think that would be the most important thing that would change everything. So
Yeah, okay, I know what you mean.
I'll leave it with you.
I will try my best.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, done.
Okay,
Connie,
take care.
thank you again. Okay, I'll
Thank
see you on maybe Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday?
okay. Just let me know.
Perfect. All right,
Okay.
done. All right, Byron. With the order packed and ready, it's now time to jump on the train and we'll head back to Hong Kong. So I've been living in Hong Kong now for like 4 or 5 months, and it's pretty much what I call home. I mean, like, to be honest, like, man, I still smell a sweaty, like, or the heat in those factories and the warehouses there that we're in today, something like probably would have been 40 plus degrees. But I think like, as I reflect on today, we still have like so many challenges to try and solve. As we're talking about, our cost of shipping is still so high. I've still got to find ways to be able to market our business to get it in front of like more customers, and to make our like China dream a reality. Tiles is really hard because like, if you're watching this and you're trying to build a business, you're not going to buy tiles from us. It's like the 1% of people who are watching this that like happen to have a home renovation or a developer or a builder that would buy maybe some tiles from us because they like the content and believe in our concept. And that's a very small niche audience. But what I've learned through YouTube so far is that it's all about just like trust and credibility and trying to like do the best that we possibly can by showing everything as real and raw on the ground. So yeah, we've got the big shipping issue to solve. Like we're trying to get charged like $600 for literally like those tiles that you saw today, 4 boxes to get those into Australia, which is just like way too high. But yeah, we're gonna get on the train now. I'm gonna try and like solve that problem actively. And like next week we should have, next video, an answer to like how we're gonna get shipping down, how we're gonna be able to figure out this part of the business from China. But I think if there's one thing you take away from today, hopefully it's that building a business in China as a Westerner is very possible. You know, there's nothing about me that makes me like overly special. Yes, I've run a business before, I've got a track record, but this is my first time doing it for real in China. And you see us like live figuring it out like as we go, and the trials and the failures and the successes and everything else in between. So thank you for the support on like buying from us. I appreciate that not everyone needs tiles, but it makes our model a reality and makes our business come to life. And so thank you. We'll see you next week. I gotta go figure out how to get shipping cheaper. It's my main priority on this train, and everyone's running, so we should probably run too, so we don't make it, or so we don't miss it. But thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week. Yeah, it's like really bad.